Hello there, folks, and welcome to the stream. My name is Mike D'Angelo, aka That Tellest Guy, and we are back after a lengthy delay. It's been 2 full weeks since we did a Making Maps video, and that was because Rhianna and I went to vend at the Bucks County Renaissance Fair, not last weekend, but the weekend before. So it was a week of prep, and then it was a week of recovery. It was the first time that we've vended at a Renaissance Fair. It went really well. We had a lot of these maps that we had for sale. We brought 31 of these on, like our very high quality mouse pads, and we sold more than half of them. So I consider that a pretty nice victory. Next time we do it, we're planning on going with 83 because that's how many we currently have for sale. But we are back. We've got our partners working on a couple of maps, and I've got something very cool to show off. It is Matt's first map since it might be like October or November last year, and he's been saving up all that talent for this one map because it's pretty darn good. And then he's going to get me a couple more ahead of our second Kickstarter, which we'll talk about a little bit more on this channel as well, or this stream rather. So let's get into it. You saw me do a little bit of this map about 3 weeks ago at this point. We are wrapped up with it. This was our mountain bridge map. I've already put the variants together. They are on Patreon, so if you do want to head over to patreon.com/Tellest, you can get your full map here, the variants, all that good stuff. But we'll look at the points of interest real quick, just to see what we got. We have obviously the titular bridge. We've got that all put together. We've got a little spyglass hidden by a tree over here so that people can either check the stars for whatever phenomena they need to look at for whatever quest they're working on, or if they want, they can use it to spot maybe nearby camps or towns or stuff like that. We also have this little opening in the cave over here, and that could be where if the adventurers or enemies or whoever are walking across this bridge, you can set up a kind of like long-range ambush over here. And then finally up here you can see a little bit of rubble on the ground, and that's to kind of imply that here the wall is kind of empty. If we were playing Legend of Zelda, that would be where you would put a bomb, and then you'd have a secret entrance into that cavern. But we're pretty much done with this map. Like I said, it's already on Patreon. I'm not going to do anything crazy to it or anything, but we did not get the opportunity to get some fanfare on this map, so let's hit the button. Oh, that's disappointing. You're not going to hear that, and neither is the thing working for some reason. I'm getting the music, but wah, wah, wah. Well, there's that. I wonder why that wasn't working. I know why that piece wasn't working, but we'll try that again later. Misery says, do the sound effect yourself. Wah, 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 wah. There you go. Let's try one more time. Yeah, I don't know. The picture piece is not coming through. Maybe something failed in the Stream Deck, but I'll have to get that one fixed. But so we are done with this map, but we have many more maps to show you today. As I mentioned, we have the map that Matt just finished, and like I said, it was well worth the wait. Let's go into the map. I also have to remember to start turning the grids on and off when we're showing those things, because it is really nice to see things with and without the grid. So this is Matt's map. We're calling it Lost Valley. Just a really good use of stamps from other sets and things like that. He used like the rocks from the sci-fi set, stacked them up real nice, used some rubble from the Siege set. Like, it looks very immersive and lively. This is a very good map, and like I said, it's a return to form for Matt after like 9 months or whatever of not doing maps. You could say like, all right, I'm going to come back and do nothing super great, but he did a wonderful job with this. Like, I can't complain except to say that I'm incredibly jealous of his talents, and we are very happy to have another one of his maps grace the Patreon soon, because we'll have that up tomorrow. And that's reminding me, I'm late with he is nesting, but he didn't know he was nesting 9 months ago. But he also has a nest for us, so maybe nesting is on the mind. I have to do a Patreon post today. I was doing so much other stuff that I completely forgot about it. So we got to get some kind of art post going. So again, this is Matt's work. He did a really good job here. We're going to shift gears to Kev's work real quick. So we're going to go into, I don't believe that we saw, where is it? There we go. I don't believe that we saw the Dragon's Rest Lake yet, because I think we got that August 28th. So yeah, I think that would have happened off stream. But this is, I think, Kev's third map overall, and it's his first map for Tellest. So again, very talented people working with Tellest on this kind of stuff. This is his Dragon's Rest Lake. He did just some really cool work here. I think if he ends up on the stream before the end of the night, we may take a look at his second map too. Because I think there might be some value in showing him some of the filter stuff that you can do in Incarnate. I know that he's expressed interest in doing those kind of things, but he just doesn't have the practice with it or anything. But a very good job with this map. We've already got that up on Patreon, and it will be on I think it's on Drive-Thru RPG as well. But this is going to be one of the bonus maps that we're going to have as a stretch goal for the Kickstarter, which we're going to be running. I will show you that very shortly. We're going to take you know what, we'll show you now because it kind of, it bears telling. So we have the second volume of the Tellest 50 Plus Battle Maps Kickstarter that is going to come out October 15th. So we're just over a month away. I need to tweak one or two more things before I can properly show this off to people, because the reward structure doesn't work right now because Kickstarter's kind of buggy and it's not letting me set the early bird day one stuff, which is only 1 day. Like, that's the limit. It's not letting me set those up properly until we get to either September 15th or September 16th. Once I get that figured out, we'll have this preview available for everybody, and the descriptions of the videos on YouTube, we'll talk about it, we'll have the link online and everything, all that good stuff. But let's go through. Figure we're previewing this right now. Hi, Luna. I'm gonna give Luna a pet real quick. Come here. Come here. You can push through. You can also go around the other way. Hi. You okay, Poochie? You should, anybody who wants to see something funny should go to tiktok.com/@TalesOfTellest, because she had a hilarious moment downstairs maybe not 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. It's very funny. Anyway, so returning to the Kickstarter, so I'm trying again to make sure that day one backers get the representation that they want, because for every 25 day one backers that we get, every backer is going to get an additional 5 maps. That's pretty huge. We do have a ton of people that we do have a ton of people who are contributing to this Kickstarter compared to last time when it was just Matt and I. So I'm very hopeful that we're going to be able to continue going down that path. It's tough doing a water break when you're the only person. Matt, I showed off your map. I don't know if you were here for it, but I talked you up real nice. So very similar structure to the first Kickstarter. There's not too much crazy that. Thank you, Matthew. He subscribed with Prime Gaming. For 3 months. Oh, you have subscribed for 3 months. What do you mean, though? What do you mean, though? Anyway, so the big difference here is we've added a couple of add-ons. There's certainly you can get the first set in addition to the second set. If you missed the first Kickstarter campaign, it's going to be the best price that you can get. You can see that based on the extra rewards that we're giving. So we've got the day one backers early dragon, which is $10 for the previous one plus $8 for the second volume. the map giant set, so if you don't get to it on day one, you still get a very good price for over 100 maps. At the point that we go live, we're probably looking more at like 120 maps, including the ones for the, oh, you know what, you're not going to get the day one, so it'll be like 110, give or take. We've got the special, which is the highest one that we're doing for this set, which is you're also going to get a physical map. So we've talked up the physical maps before. You can see it a little bit better on the add-ons here. So this is what our physical maps look like. They're huge 18 by 36 inch pads. A lot of them you can kind of put side by side, so they look real nice. And for $40, you get all the digital stuff, plus you get one of our physical maps. And in addition to that, if you back at the $40 level, you can get up to 10 more of these physical maps. So it's the only place that you can go and get the physical stuff. We have a couple of other physical things. You can get the physical 100 Fantasy Writing Prompts book. You can get the art book and the Quantum Quest game. We also just kind of passed by something else that we showed off, which was this map. Before, when we didn't know whether or not we were going to be successful with the Kickstarter the first time around, we made a map as we went, and I decided not to go that route this time. So let's actually go right into the map, and we'll kind of take a look at it a little bit better. Hello there, Francis Ella. So we're going to go into this map. We're going to see kind of what we did. So the first one that we did was campsites. That was kind of like we had just come off of Incarnate adding like a bunch of new like campsite and tent based kind of structures, lots of like new bedrolls for heroes, things like that. So I figured same way we did like Coastal Grave to be the sequel to Coastal Cave, we did campsites, and now we're doing work sites. So I'm going to take you through a little journey so that you can see exactly where everything goes. So the first goal is our cartographer little table. So we've got a bunch of scrolls, a couple of maps. Here's the tent, so it's like a nice little reference back to the first map. As you go along, you get to the first stretch goal, which is our Fletcher, because this is Kev is going to be developing 5 maps for us. So this is his 5 maps are going to be the very first stretch goal that we get. We made 1900 last time, so I'm feeling pretty confident that we'll hit 700 for this one. So his maps are the first 5. We already have maps from our other partners, so I want to make sure that Kev gets a chance to shine. We've got the second stretch goal, which is going to bring us up to $1,000, and that's 4 new maps from Knightly Lore Maiden that we'll commission her for. They're probably are going to be already going to be done by the time we go live with the Kickstarter. Definitely by the time we're done. And then we've got a blacksmith kind of stuff. This is an armorer, so we figured we're just doing plays off people's names and their characters and related things. Keep on going around this area, and then you get to the Beast Tamer. That's Becca Tigress, so we've got her little spot as place for some caged animals that are being trained. We've got some places for them to be kind of strapped to this rock just to be safe, that kind of stuff. Cross the bridge, and you end up getting the 5 maps from Matt. So Matt is currently making 5 maps for the base set of the 50 maps, but once he's done with those 5, he's going to get us 5 more, so that we'll have stuff ready for you at the $1,600 level. And like I said, last time we made $1,900 and we didn't have all these add-ons, so I think that is going to make things a lot more. I think people are going to be eager to get more maps, basically. Where we also have a little bit of a secret treasure trove back here. I'm imagining the carpenters being the dwarves and Bolt Thunder Fury from the Son of the Storm books. And they've got to have a little cache of ale barrels for everybody to find. We've got the 5th stretch goal, which is going to be the Scribe and Scholar set. This will be 5 more maps from me. I am going to have probably not a lot of time between now and then to get ready with anything but the base level maps. So while the campaign is going, I'm probably going to be working on the extra 5 maps. And I think the way that we're going to go is we're going to wrap up the maps from the sets that we have, the zones that we have, where we have 5 out of the 6 maps that we would need. Matt can hear my scratchy voice, so he's asked me to hydrate. Excuse me. Anyway, so the Scribe Scholar set is going to bring you to 1900. That was where we ended last time, so I think that that's still pretty doable. And then we are officially, I don't know why that zoomed in, our 6th stretch goal, we are officially announcing that we're going to be getting people the first set of our Tellest Foundry stamps, which is going to be like assets that you could upload into pretty much anything that you need, but you know, you could upload it into Incarnate, you could just throw them directly into Roll20 if you need them. The first set that we are going to be doing is statues, because as much as I like to use the stuff that Incarnate has, I want a little bit of flexibility with the things that I want to use in my maps. So I don't want every map to be the same dwarf and elf statues that we have. I have a couple of ideas that I really want to kind of play with. And just as kind of an example, this map technically isn't done yet, because I have this idea of taking some of those statues, shrinking them down, almost making them action figure sized, and throwing them on our Tinker's tables over here. But that is it for our stretch goal map. But I do want to show you one more thing for them, and that is that the map did not come out of thin air. Just like everything else that I do, I like to make things super complicated. And you can see that it connects directly to our campsites map. So both stretch goals now officially connect together in a really fun way. Let's see if we can't get all the text. And all texts. And that doesn't look like all text. Is it all text? I'm going to try and hide these guys. Nope. Tis not. I guess because these are grouped. Let's try and hide everything. And then we'll take another little zoom in real quick. Where's our path at? We'll hide these real quick. So once all that stuff is out of the way, you can barely see where one starts and the other ends. To be clear, it's like this line right here. But it just came together very nice. And if things keep going the way that we want them to, we'll keep on doing these Kickstarter campaigns. And this zone will continue to grow as well. We have ideas where if we expand beyond the 2200 mark, maybe we expand this way, and maybe we expand down this way. So we'll have to see what happens. We've already got ideas for what to do in that case. Let's take another look at one of Kev's maps. I don't think that he is on with us right now, so I'll leave that for later so that he can see like when we're doing the variants and filters and stuff like that. But we will show you the map. So this is his second map from the 5 that he's going to give to us. This is his Silver Pines Cemetery? Hillside Cemetery, we're calling it. I think he's calling it Silver Pine because we are letting him put this on his Patreon as well. But this is our Hillside Cemetery. There's a couple of things that we're probably going to tweak just to make it pop a little bit more. Like we have the stairs over here that we're going to do a little bit of adjustments, because you can add like the portal here to make the stairs go across like actual ground instead of over top of the cliffs. And I scared Kev away from doing trees the way that me and Matt do now, and I want to try and help that look a little bit more vibrant. And it's just as easy as probably blowing up a couple of these like oak trees that are bigger than the pines. I think he and I talked about like maybe adjusting some of the graves, because I think this grave is kind of growing into this one. But other than that, I mean, this is a nice map to add to the list. the graveyard that I have is very dreary, so this is a nice adjustment to the formula. This looks very nice, and he's already working on a third map for us, so we're excited for that as well. And I can't wait to show that off probably next week with the way that he's going. So we're probably going to keep things kind of tight today, just because it is the first week back, and I got to get other maps prepped. But what we're going to do is let's head back to the maps folder, and I'm trying to manifest something here. So we know that earlier in the year, Incarnate released the 2.0 version of the software, and with that came the rooms tool and the line tool and all that good stuff, the asset manager, like a decent amount of stuff came through. One of the things that kind of sort of like it kind of got covered up was they were also working on a classic map style that you could do your battle maps in. And what you can see on the screen right now is kind of a ham-fisted version of it that I came to do today. And it already exists within the system. It's not the best way to do things probably, but it's a way that we can use this kind of structure until that classic style is ready. And the reason that I said I'm trying to manifest it is because usually when I do something to kind of get us over a certain point, like the very next day, they make it easier for everybody. So I'm trying to challenge that into existence. So one of the things that you can do is if you come in here and you look at like the shapes and the lines tool, the color of the walls you might not like. You might want something a little bit different. I don't know if I have... Yeah, I have the color already saved in here. This might be a little bit lighter, but if you grab, like, for instance, the shapes, and we'll see if we like this any better. Might be a little too light. I know that there's a couple of colors that look pretty nice, but we'll start with this one just to be consistent, and then I'll show you what it looks like to actually use these two tools. Because really all you're doing is the lines, and yes, Rhiannon says manifest. She is a witch. She knows all about that. Really what you're trying to do is just be consistent with things. So we've got the lines and the shape tools, and then we have this cross-hatching. And realistically, if you needed to, you could do the cross-hatching yourself, but you don't have to. Incarnate actually already has a cross-hatching feature that you can use. So let's start by making our little room. So we're just going to do the stroke. We're not going to do the fill. If you really wanted to, you could, but you kind of, on a parchment style, classic battle map style like this, you don't really want to do that kind of thing. What I like to do is snap to grid, do a preview. So if we wanted to, we could do something like this. Make sure that it's the right size. It gives you the plus and minus button. So you could do the plus, and at that point you have your room. And then what you can do is, if you go to the textures, I already have it down here. 100 actually looks really good. It exists already for you in the dungeon set. It's an alpha layer. You might not even notice it's there half the time, because if you go in here, it's very dark. It's right in between the sand rocks and the bones set. I've been in here probably 100 times, probably 1,000 times, have not noticed it, but it's right in here. It's called cross-hatching. And like I said, I just leave it at 100. And typically what I'll do is I like that kind of outline there. If I was going to be making these maps a little bit more often, what I might do is build everything out. So I would start something like here, just apply it on the squares so that we have everything. I don't imagine that we're going to put things like this on our pads or anything like that. I don't think that we need to, but I do think that we could use this for things like adventures when we're trying to commit them to books and things like that, and that is one of the things that we want to explore in the future. But let's do a little bit of testing here just to see how it looks. So we'll do like a 2 border along all these sides. you figure we're going to have a lot of our maps that we already make, but it is also nice to have the ability to create something like this on the fly. So let's do, we're going to change these back to a darker color. So let's take that and something like that. So we'll take that hex color and we'll append that to the lines as well. I think I got that for everything. I don't think that there's anything that I missed. Oh, there is this one. That one's kind of important since that's the new one. And then what we'll do is let's take our shape tool one more time and let's put some portals in here. So the portals are going to be our way of opening up the doorways and the corridors and stuff like that. So let's take out that grid snap and we're going to go to our pen tool. We'll go into right there, bring that down here. So this corridor is going to be a little bit awkward because we are going from a square to a circle, but it won't be terrible. And because we don't have the textures or anything, most people aren't even going to notice. So I have things a little bit easier than some people do because I have the Wacom tablet. So I can come in here and I can just go into the brush mode, shrink that down to an appropriate size, and then I can just draw on the screen. So like I know everything that I need to do to draw that in the right way. But even if you don't, you can be pretty precise with the mouse if you need to. So you can just be slow and deliberate with those kind of things. We're going to go back to the cross hatching and let's do all around this area. So we'll do the snap to grid. So around the square bits, it's real easy because you can just use the rectangle tool. Bring that up here. Now, once you get over to here, you need to be a little bit more precise. So you change back to the circle tool, and then you can draw in. So there's a little bit of overlap. My hope is that when they do the classic battle map style, that it makes things a little bit more intuitive and you don't have to do things like that, but nobody really knows for sure. So if this is going to be it, this is the, as far as you're going with the map, you might not need to go any crazier than that. You could come in here, grab the rectangle tool again, and start applying. And you can definitely see, even at 100% opacity, if I apply it again, it still gets darker, and that's because it is an alpha layer. That was kind of what I was implying when I was saying it would be nice to see when they are ready with the Classic Maps tool, a way to make sure that things feel a little bit more intuitive. So let's do real quick. So the cross-hatching is definitely just supposed to represent the closed-off areas of whatever map you're working on. So let's clean up everything else, and then we'll clean up the gaps. And one of the tools that you can use to make this even easier for you, there is a random dungeon generator called Don John's, I don't know, D&D generator or something like that. It is really pretty intuitive about like how you want to put things together. You can change the size of the map. You can change the style of the map if you wanted something more cavernous, if you wanted something rectangular, if you wanted something, kind of cross-styled. You can change the amount of rooms that you would see, the types of rooms that you would see. It is a nice little thing, and it was kind of, I ran something real quick just to get what I have here, and then just kind of took that as inspiration and moved off from there. So let's throw these in here. I'm actually just using the mouse right now. I'm not even using the pencil anymore. So I'll just throw this in here. And there you go. You have a nice little classic style if you need it. We should be able to go into the filters, and I think even throw in maybe something like a black and white, and then that makes it look even more authentically old school. Because a lot of times when we were younger, we didn't have the parchment style paper, but this definitely makes it look even nicer. If you're trying to print, you might want to brighten that up so that when you are printing, it's not using as much black ink or anything like that. I don't think saturation helps in this case, so we would keep the saturation down. You could mess with the contrast if you wanted to. I don't think a 0 contrast would help much, but if you really needed to go crazy, you could move that up or down. There is one thing that I didn't do, and I probably should have, and that is, let's cut out of this, and we'll go back in one more time, and we'll experiment one more time. So you're seeing me play with this live, but I think it ought to work. So right now, we've been working on the background layer, but if you wanted to, what you could do is, let's get rid of all this cross-hatching for what we're about to do. Matthew says posture check, so I am also going to take that as an opportunity to hydrate. I got to record some lines tomorrow, so I can't have a scratchy voice. So you saw I got rid of all the cross-hatching. What I'm going to do next is actually, we're going to make everything in here part of the foreground. So we lose everything, it becomes grass. We're going to go back into the brush layers, and we're going to paint that to parchment again. And let's go into cross-hatching real quick, and let's do background one more time. You're not even going to see a change, or at least you shouldn't. Again, this is just a real quick test on my account. So we're going to go back into the mask, and we're going to go into snap to grid, and we're going to be removing, nope, sorry. I think I might have done it backwards. I believe I did it backwards. Here's what we're going to do. See, my mind is spinning, but not in the correct direction. So back to the foreground, apply the cross-hatching everywhere. We should see all that. Back to the background, apply it as parchment. It gets pretty ugly when you're doing it this way, I'll tell you that. Get out of here. So now, if I subtract on the mask, you get something like that. The cross-hatching looks pretty, pretty much the same everywhere. We're going to, let's go into the mask effects. We're going to turn off the ripples because we don't need the ripples, but everything else should be okay. Take that away. We go all the way down this corridor. And we are going to have to be a little bit more precise with some of these other things. Should just be a 7x7. If I scooch that, maybe it wasn't a 7x7. I screwed it up and didn't have it the right size when I first made it. So this one is the only tricky one because this isn't polygonal. Well, it is, but it's not using the polygonal tool. So we are going to come here and we're going to use the circle stuff to get rid of... Oh, I'm doing an add and I meant to do a subtract. So in theory, you don't even need the lines and the shapes based on their map tool. Mask tool, sorry. So it's a little bit imprecise. You can, I think, with the shape tool, well, the shape tool is not going to make things all that easy. I don't think that there's anything that you can do with the mask and the line tool. In any case, if you were doing the mask tool, you could straighten this up even further by doing things like this. And if you needed to, you could do a rotate. So we could bring it here, put that on the line. Ooh, it would help if I was doing the right one. Do it a couple times. Same thing up here. Oop, maybe something like that. And you can unsnap it from the grid so that you can get a cleaner little set of that. Not a perfect situation by any means, but pretty good for even less amount of time that we spent with it. And like I said, we can get rid of the lines and the shapes, so we could bring the opacity of them down, and just based on the regular old mask tools that you have, looks pretty good. So that's another way to do it. Like I said, at the end of the day, we're going to get the announcement tomorrow that they're going to have the classic style ready for us, so we can do it that way. I think we are pretty caught up with everything that I wanted to show everybody today. We ought to be back tomorrow working on a new map, very likely one of the day one backer maps, and we'll take it from there. But let's head over to the show closing screen. So folks, on the screen right now, you should see all the places that you can find Tellest out there on the internet. Tellest.com is a great first place to start because it'll usually bring you to our other projects, but we have a couple of premium sites that you can go to as well to get a lot of map stuff as well as other things. Patreon.com/Tellest will bring you over to our Patreon, where you can get on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays some really good map content. We have kind of tighten that up a little bit. We used to have the point of interest documents at the $10 level. We're just bundling them into the $5 level, where you also get the variants. We do those, again, as I said, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then on Tuesdays and Thursdays we do art posts. I still have to schedule tonight's art post because I completely forgot about that doing all the other stuff I was doing. Tellest.etsy.com is where you can find the physical versions of our maps, in addition to just regular beautiful art on our pads, as well as Rihanna's handcrafted wands, stickers, bookmarks, all that kind of stuff. BattleMapFantasy.com is where you can go to our drive-through RPG. We have 113 maps on there now, I think. Well, 113 items. We have some that are just bundled at really good prices, so that's a good place to go if you're not patient enough to wait for October 15th and that new Kickstarter that we're running. 2 TikTok channels for you to take a look at Weird Witch Wands is where you can find Rihanna's one-of-a-kind handcrafted magic wands with a little bit more detail. We just got back from the Renaissance Fair. She put together a very nice video of our time there. You should check that out. And then our dogs, I say dog because it's really just Luna's channel. She runs the show. They can be found at Tales of Tellest on TikTok. She's got very close to 7.2 million views on the one video, so you should check that out and see what other shenanigans she got into. Like I said, right, 7.2. We finally hit it. Woo! Right before we went live tonight, she went crazy on the couch, and that video is on TikTok already. The 2 last places that will bring your attention to are youtube.com/@worldoftellest, where you can see these videos after Twitch knocks us off the page. Twitch.tv/thattellestguy is the only place that you can come to tell me to hydrate, posture check, get your Quantum Quest coins so that you can queue up for games in the future, and to potentially steer fate for the people who are playing, because we definitely have some new things coming for that very soon as well. But that is going to wrap us up for today. I thank you for joining me. It was a long while since we did one of these, and tomorrow we'll be back with something new. So until then, let me see you